Welcome back, listeners. I am here with Nathan Rosenlund of Kodiak Consulting. And Nathan is very unique and strategic with how he works with businesses. And I want you to think about what if the hardest working people, like in constructions and trades, things like electricians, plumbers, and contractors, the ones that keep our businesses running, they keep our households running. What if they had a way to actually stop trading time for money and finally build a business that worked for them? And that is what Nathan does. So, Nathan, welcome today to Upleveled Strategies Podcast. We are so excited to dive into your expertise, learn more about you and how it is that you help businesses. Tell me a little bit of your background and how you got started in the trades.
Thank you. First of all, it's great to be here. One doesn't think themselves to be so great all the time. So this is a little out of norm to talk just what I do, but what I do know is the blue collar construction trades need help from people like me. That's what started my journey. I've been in the construction trade for over 20 years. I'm a master cabinet maker. I can build, if you can dream it with wood, maybe not anymore, but I could build it. I don't have the tools and stuff anymore, but I worked for a company, a few different ones, and every one of them brought something to the table, and I learned a lot. And what it is helping people live in the homes or the businesses that they want to live in, giving them that place that they can just relax and enjoy. As you get to know these business owners that are doing that work, and now that I'm in this role with Kodiak Consulting, I realize that they've never taken the time to even define what they want their business to be. And so that pain point or that idea started off, and then it's just developed over time to get me where I am today.
That is awesome. And in your journey, you developed six-sided business model. That's really kind of like flipping the script for trades. Tell me a little bit more about that and how you developed that.
Yeah, the six-sided business model came about because I realized you had to talk about stuff that people understood. I was getting ready for a presentation. I needed a graphic for my slide. I typed it in, the Rubik's Cube popped up. Oof. I didn't have time to finish the slide, but I put the Rubik's Cube in there. I went home, came in the middle of the night, in the morning, something like that, clicked in my brain, that was the missing piece. Many businesses, I was no different, but I was thinking it's all about sales, operations, and finance, and that's it. And so the three-legged stool approach, but that's the next level up. And so you get the level down called the how-to, the everyday thing that you need to deal with. When you break it into 6 parts or 6 sides of a Rubik's Cube or a square or a box or whatever, when you break it down, what it does is it puts a system in place so they can take care of all the things they need to within each side. So their business starts to run better and better and more smoother and more smoother. And in that, you're building these processes, and the processes dictate the system that will operate your business, and it's tailored to you instead of being tailored to the system that's already been created.
That's pretty profound. And tell me about a time where you were working with a client and it clicked for them and all of a sudden it was skyrocketed their business.
I'll talk about the money side of it. Many people, we all know how important finances are. Knowing your numbers will keep you out of bankruptcy. Knowing your numbers will keep you making money. Knowing your numbers, I could go on and on. Here's the thing. Some people take longer than others to realize the importance of money. When you talk about a budget with a contractor or a mason or electrician or a plumber, they go, they understand that it's important, but they don't want to do it. They don't understand the value that it brings to them. They don't understand the fact that you don't look at your bank account on your phone to see how much money you have, that you trust in something called QuickBooks or some kind of project software that you have that will tell you what your account is. And the budgets help you guide and make you decisions. So over a course of about 5 months, talking about the concept of budget and how you have to start to manage your money. You have to control your money. The reason you are always behind the 8 ball is because you're not managing your money. Not every week, but probably, I would say once a month, we would have this conversation. And I'd be like, you need to have money flow. And this is why. It is boom, boom. And you can clearly define it. But all of a sudden you get that aha moment. And it usually comes because they hear it, but something makes it get right up to their chin. And they realize if they take one more breath, they're going to fall under the water. And they're like, and they look at you and they're like, that money flow, it hits them and you see the change in them, and all of a sudden the water level the next time you meet him is down here. So this guy went from almost drowning in debt. Now he's got a debt plan. Yes, it's called a debt plan, but you have to get out of it. That debt plan is leading him out instead of bringing him deeper into debt. And on top of that, he's also at the same time opened a savings account so that he can have the money for the rainy days when he doesn't have it. That to me is success. Then were the big pain point that was holding him back versus another gentleman. He had a contracting business. He had never been able to take his family on vacation.
Wow.
And he went on vacation for 8 days and he didn't worry about his business. A family of 8.
That's pretty profound.
So
Yeah.
just in the money realms, I could talk about lots of other stuff too, but those are good examples that people can relate to. How many of us push off so much stuff just because we don't understand or we don't want to take the time to understand?
Absolutely. I totally agree. A lot of times, we don't know our numbers in business, because we're just so busy juggling all those plates that business has, right? And so I know that one of the things that you help your clients with is really discovering their value and finding what that sweet pricing is for them. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So I say so a lot, so I'm going to keep doing that. So value is a broad term. There's self-valuation, there's value of the company, there's value of your family, there's value of the dollar, there's value of whatever. We have to put it in perspective. What usually people, and I could ask you, you did not start your business to make a ton of money. You started your business on a dream and a whim, and you're going to do this. Maybe you had to make money to get where you needed to go, but it wasn't because you were going to be an multi-millionaire. It's okay if you get there, but that energy that you started it with, the thought and the dream and everything you started it with, them hardcore, hardwired things that were in you. I want to make a difference. I want to bring value. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay. When you're working with a business owner, you've got to bring up values with emotions. And you also got to bring up values that can contribute to the business platform. You cannot take one out and just say the value of your company is X without an explanation or a foundation to stand on. Just like a house cannot stand on sand without a foundation, so too does your business need the foundation. Many times they're called core values, but there's stuff that makes up your core values. And then those are the behaviors. Those are the values you bring every day. Those are the things you live without talking about them. People can see your example. So you work through that value. And in the process of doing it, you create these core values that you put to the inner team is more important than the external team, right? The clients and stuff. Your inner team, your employees get to see how valuable you are because of your core values. And now you get to establish the value of the dollar because now you have a foundation. So now you get to put the budget together because you know what you're doing. You get to make decisions of who you want to work with. And you also get to dive down into called break-even point. Now we get to dig deep and go, what is your break-even? To do everything you need to do and keep the lights on, it's X amount of dollars to the penny. Then on top of that, once you get that figured out, you also go, how many billable hours can you work? And they'll say, I can work 2,000 billable hours per guy. Well, the reality is that's not true because bad weather, snowstorms, rain, projects delayed, permit processing, design things, whatever. If you only have a couple employees, you're not going to bill 2,000 hours per guy per year on average. You want to, that's called 100%, and that's called almost impossible. Not saying you can't, but you need overtime for it. So what you do is you have to understand that your billable hours is every employee is worth so many billable hours. Now what you've just done is created the foundation of your budget. Now you know what you have to charge to cover that. If you plan for 1,500 hours of billable hours and you get it 17 per guy, 1,700, man, that's called cherry on the top. Because then after you figure out your break-even point, so now you know exactly what it costs to run your business, you put on top of that, so you got labor, materials, and overhead, boom. And then you put on top of that called the little thing that every business needs to grow. It's called profit. All of a sudden what you have is sustainable business, knowing your numbers, and immovable. You are just rock solid, believe in them, and you're actually going to sell more, even though your price is higher than than you've ever thought possible. And it's not that you're ripping people off. It's because you believe in that number, and then you portray it on to the interactions you have with your clients or customers when you're trying to get them to sign up.
That's amazing. So somebody can come to you and really not know anything, and you're going to help them with all of those things.
I am. And to be clear, I'm not a financial expert. So when it gets really deep and we have to really dive in, I partner with people that work with me to get these to the people. Where I'm the strong suit is in the operations, the sales, and the leadership. So that means marketing, employees, and finances not left out, but I work with people that help the clients go to the next level within them too.
I really love that. And, it's profound to have that growth. And we all want to see our business, doubling and tripling, as time goes by. And I like to say, if you knew how to do it, you'd be doing it. So it's imperative to have somebody like you shine light in those areas where we have blind spots or we're not just maybe not getting it. Part of that Rubik's cube that we're like, oh, there's another side, you know?
Mm.
And I'm sure, do you see that a lot?
What I'm noticing is business owners, and I'm going to generalize very broad here, but I'm going to generalize in a good way. Business owners overall do not plan for the outcome. They don't have nothing in front of them to guide them. It's like getting in a car and you're going to go somewhere, but you don't have an address, a GPS, or you don't even know if you have enough fuel. You don't have enough gas, or that's the same thing as fuel. Sorry. You don't even know if you can start the car. Like you don't know nothing, but you're going to go there. Most people get in there, they're going to go somewhere. They don't know where they're going to go. They might have fuel. They might have money. They might have oil for the engine. It might run, and they might have a road to drive on, but they have no idea what's the outcome. They don't know if they're going to end up at the grocery store or they're going to end up at the Grand Canyon. So that's the first thing most business owners need to step back. And I work with them and I call it building your fundamentals. So even before you get into the six-sided business model, what we do is this is a very cool title. So hang on to this. It's called pre-plan to a year. We do the fundamentals and put 1 year plan in place with implementation in there too. What you have to do step by step to get through the next year. And then you can start doing the six-sided business model because there's timing in all things. We hear with the noise around us. Everybody's like, oh, look at us. Look how, if you hire me, this is what you get. If you do this is what you get. Well, there's times and places within business cycles to do stuff. When you're out there just trying to fill the calendar, it's not a good time to bring on a coach when you don't have enough production work to do. It's also not a good time to stop doing marketing. Like you need to understand this kind of thing. There's times and places to redo your website and when not to. There's times and places to bring on an employee and not to bring on an employee. The beautiful thing about working with a coach is not just that they can guide you, but that you trust their advice because they have your best interest in heart, because they know what the outcome is. So they work with you to create the outcome that is achievable and attainable instead of just being an outcome that's full of fluff, like a leprechaun at the end of the rainbow. It's now no longer that little leprechaun or the golden pot. You will actually get there. You will know, and it won't be no rainbow. It will be a clear path how to get there. And once you figure out that, then you could implement the six-sided business model to build that standard operating procedure book so that your company is actually worth more at the end of that journey so you can sell it instead of becoming part of the 77% of businesses that just shut their doors.
Wow. I mean, that's profound. What is something that you learned along your journey that you bring to the table that you think is just a skill set or something that you learned that is like so invaluable?
This is a good question. I've never been asked this before, so I've taken a second to formulate my thoughts. I would have to say that I bring people back to the feelings of what they started their business for. And then on top of that, I reevaluate their why, what, and how, so they have the motivation to keep going. And if they can't reestablish their why, what, and how, just like a couple of my past clients, they realize they don't want to be in business anymore, and it's okay because they're not meant to be. Like I make sure that you are meant to be where you're supposed to be. And if it is a business owner and where you're going, but we do that through that exercise. And when I started, I never thought I'd spend so much time at that portion or even be talking to people about that again, because it should be just done. Like everybody should have their why. According to Simon Sinek, everybody in the world has their why already, but very few people do. And if they do, they've just put it together based off a book instead of help or off a personality test instead of reality. And so I have exercises that I've created because of that get people to their true why. And then on top of that, get them to their true direction. It sounds kind of farce. Like, why would a contractor that puts wires in the wall or builds custom homes need to do all this? Like, they're just like, no, I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to put in a 2x4. I'm going to put in a 2x6 and I'm going to roof the house and I'm going to do this. And why would I have to do all that? Because this isn't your dad's company or your uncle's company anymore. It's not just going to be handed off. And if you just pass it off without any thought or any systems in place, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And I don't know about you, but I would rather control my retirement than have Social Security control my retirement. If you don't want to do it because you think it's a waste of time. Just think of yourself at 66 and a half when you're ready to collect and having barely any money to do it. Do you think you and your wife or you and your partner are going to like that? Probably not.
Probably not. I am really hearing you say, like, getting really clear, a very clear clarity around why they show up, how they're doing the work, who they're hiring. Like, you're helping with all that, which I think is so, so beneficial. And I know from my own experience, when I got clear on my business, it like 10x'd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause
But did your clarity come because the outcome was laid on a piece of paper, or because you did all the work to create the strategy to get you to that piece of paper on a piece of paper?
the work answering the hard questions and getting really yeah, that's exactly what it was. Really sitting down. I mean, I think a lot of times we don't take the time to think anymore about what it is that we really want, and so that's part of the problems. It's like, "Well, who am I and what is it that I want?" First of all, that's a good question, and then if you can't answer that question, it is like being on the runway without a pilot and going, "Hey, this plane's gonna take off, but we don't know where we're going." Or in the car, whatever. So yeah, I
A good way to look at this is that little corner of the painting on your wall behind you, or a
yeah.
picture.
Mhm.
When you go to paint on a canvas, you need to visualize it. Some people need to have a picture in front of them to copy. Some people need to put traceable paper on and copy it, right? Other people could just close their eyes, visualize it, and do it. Now, imagine that you had to figure out what to do and you had to like put rough sketches together and you're like, okay, I'm ready to paint this picture. And as soon as you go to paint it, somebody put blindfolds on you. Imagine just, you can already picture that the painting wouldn't turn out. And then you take it off and you're like, no, that's not what I want. You'd be shocked at what you saw and you'd be like, okay, now what do I do? Like, this was going to be my masterpiece. Well, that's the beauty of working with a coach that gives you direction. The masterpiece is created over time, just like every famous artist you can think of has taken years to perfect it. So too should you do it with your masterpiece called a business. You
Absolutely.
have the canvas, you put in the work and you sketched it out, but now let's put color to it. And the more colorful and the more bright and the more beautiful it is, the more it's going to be worth when you want to retire.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you laid that out. It's such a good visual, a great visual, actually. Yeah. In regards to even finding workers, because, when you're growing and scaling, you need teams of people to help deliver the work, right?
Within the roles that are dictated through the organization chart or accountability chart. I don't specifically go out and find them like a recruiter. I do have connections in the recruiting world that help with that, but I just hand them off to it if they don't want to do it. But what I do is clarify the direction and clarify the role they're trying to fill. So how many business owners you hear it, I'm wearing so many hats, I never know which one to keep on. Today I'm an owner, today I'm a project manager, today I'm an it's like, no, dude, you're thinking you're all them roles. But if you're a solopreneur, you're all the roles. If you have one employee, there's some roles you don't do, but you just don't realize it. So the key is identifying what roles matter and what terminology you want. Some people like just a simple thing like director of operations or COO, or so that's chief operating officer, or some people like operations manager, or some people like chief growth officer, whatever they do, right? Whatever terminology is your terminology as a business owner, you put it together and you create the org chart, and you create it without feelings and without people, and you tie it all under responsibility. So role after role. And if you don't know how to do that, you start from the bottom up. Most people can say, the very first job I had within this industry was a laborer. And then I became an apprentice, and then I became a journeyman, and then I became a master. Well, start there. I started here, so work your way up. And then who did the master talk to? They talked to the shop manager, and the shop manager talked to the project manager, and the project manager talked to the director of operations, and blah, 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 right? That's how you build an org chart, and you get it all built. And now you're like, okay, now what? Tie responsibilities into each role and then put a name to it. And if you can't put a name to it, it's usually you. And then you go, which ones do I not like? You ever heard of that test? You take your hand and you go around your house and you put your hand on it and say, does this bring me joy or not bring me joy? And if it doesn't bring you joy, you're supposed to throw it out. My wife was like, it's some kind of thing. I'm like, it's kind of the same thing here. What roles do you like to do? What ones bring you joy and which ones don't? And then the ones that don't, you fill them spots. It's usually the things you're not good at and you hate doing. And then all of a sudden your company, voom, it starts to grow. Yeah, hiring's hard. But if you have a plan and an onboarding and a training program and all this stuff, it makes it better. But many times they don't even have an org chart or a role responsibility. That's the other thing I do.
That's amazing. I find it super helpful to delegate the things that I don't like to do. One of my favorite things to delegate is bookkeeping. I absolutely do not like it. Tax time and getting all those preparations ready. I mean, oh my goodness. I'm like, please, someone else just do this. Keep it organized and yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what level how long do you do bookkeeping, outsource it? Do you bring it in-house? So that also comes into play when you're putting this plan together.
Yeah.
So when you talk about strategies and how important strategies are, strategies only work, and I'm kind of riffing on your podcast name here, but strategies only work if they improve what's already there. You only can fix what you already know. So you have to put what you know already and then fix it. So the bookkeeper, I don't like doing bookkeeping. I don't either.
Yeah.
Know how to, but I choose not to, and I'm willing to outsource it because I will be farther behind and I'll ignore it all and I'll get in trouble with the law. So it's also a little bit of pressure there, right? So I outsource it, someone not in-house. But down the road, if I continue to grow, it's going to come in-house.
Mm-hmm.
So where's that line and when does that happen? And when do you pull the trigger? Well, wouldn't it be great if you had indications and metrics that showed you when to pull that? That's what strategies are for. They grow you, they push you up, they push you in the good way, in the positive way.
Yes, you've got my wheels turning already, which I'm like, ooh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Bringing it in-house, like that's so smart, Yeah. So thank you for that. Now, where do you find your clients mostly?
McDonald's on the Happy Value menu, you just go pick them. No. The
That simple, right? And it's through.
It is through relationships, networking, and friends and family. I'm on LinkedIn and I utilize that. I think that gets me out there and then people reach out to me because of it. And most of them so far have been people I've known and past colleagues, past coworkers, and then, friends and family that have needed help.
That's amazing.
And through my networking, I've also gotten quite a few. So maybe through my referral partner network, you'd call it, but I don't. My core tribe, that's what I call it. They've given me names that have turned into clients too. So
Wow.
I network a lot.
Yeah.
I used to network way more, but I mean, I've strategized my networking even so that when I meet with people, we'll just say what everybody should be saying, but nobody wants to. When you meet with people you're looking for their service, you shouldn't be saying, can they do all the benefits they talked about? You should be figuring out your personality.
Mm-hmm.
And once you figure that out, so that's what I do. Like I talk on the networking, trying to find the right personalities, the right people that are a good fit that I can help them go to the next level instead of just networking to network. There's a strategy behind my networking, how I classify them. There's a strategy behind my LinkedIn profile. There's a strategy behind my LinkedIn content. There's a strategy behind my Zooms. There's like everything because it makes you better and you have something to improve.
Yeah. Well, and your time's valuable too, Yeah. So you got to be diligent with your time, which is important as a business owner as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wanted to work with you, maybe they have some questions, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
100% LinkedIn. Okay. Nathan Rosenlund on LinkedIn. I'm in Duluth, Minnesota. My phone number's on there. My website is down right now.
Okay.
It's me and the developer getting it back up, hopefully in the next couple weeks. Just LinkedIn. And my phone number's right there. You can call me. And my email's in there. You can email me.
Perfect. Yeah. I'll put the links below for all of our listeners. It has been wonderful to get to know you better and learn. You've got my wheels turning. So definitely you've thrown some big pearls of wisdom out there for us and our listeners. We totally appreciate you and your time, Nathan. Thank you so much for being on here. Listeners, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share this podcast with somebody you know that would benefit from this information. Thank you so much for being on here, and we'll see you on the next one.